Yes, that is the Silver River. If you ever visited here in Central Florida and you said, take me someplace beautiful, take me someplace peaceful, take me someplace where I can be immersed in nature, then we would take you to this place. This is the Silver River, and the painting today is a young lady kayaking on the Silver River. Robin and I have gone canoeing on the Silver River a number of times, and we've gone tubing on a nearby river, very similar in the way it looks. That one is called the Rainbow River. And then there's the, let me see, what's the other one called that we go to? Well, there's the Swanee River, and there's also, oh my gosh, the Silver Glen Springs. There's a lot of springs and rivers around here to go canoeing and kayaking in. And before the summer is over, I don't want to see what I'm doing is I'm trying to delay all the winter cards. I want to stay in the summer. So that's what I'm doing today. Staying in the summer, young lady in a kayak. And I'll show you how I painted that right now. So let me start with a sketch. It's pretty simple, really. Gotta just remember the lights and the darks. And what I like about this is it brings me back to, well, really not that long ago, but also at the same time way back, because I've lived in this part of Florida for a long time now. So I have long ago memories, and then some recent memories of going to this very river here. It's called the Silver River, and you go there through Silver Springs, which used to be an attraction, like a tourist attraction, before Disney and all of that. Well, by all of that, I guess I mean Universal and whatever else is here. But Silver Springs was unique in that it was an attraction mostly because it was a river and people would take glass bottom boat rides. And now it is a state park. And it's still beautiful. It was beautiful back then, and it's still beautiful now. The difference is, as a state park, it has that state park feeling, and there are park rangers there to talk to you and to explain things, and the alligators are still in the river. Yes, there are lots of alligators in this river. And lots of people rent or own kayaks and canoes, and they come here to use those kayaks and canoes. But I don't think when they say, I'm going to canoe in the river, I think what they really should say is, I'm going to renew in the river. How about that? I'm not going to canoe, I'm going to renew. Because the river, and probably all rivers, have a way of renewing us. And that's what it is, And sometimes I think art renews us too. Maybe for some of us it's creating art. And maybe for others it's looking at a piece of art. But you go to the river, even if you're only standing on the shore, it's still a renewing feeling. You're in the presence of nature. You're in the presence of God's creation. And you're watching people enjoying the river. If you're If you're older, you're probably reliving some of your younger days. And that would be how I am. But I was there during my younger days also. And not just the Silver River, but there are so many other rivers that each river reminds me of the other. There's the Rainbow River, and there's the Swanee River. You know the song, Way Down Upon the Swanee River? Well, I've camped on the Swanee River, and it is a beautiful place. I think the one thing about the Swanee River that I like a lot is that it swells, it overflows a lot. I guess you say overflow. It just swells. It doesn't stay the same height. The Rainbow River and the Silver River probably do the same thing, but I never noticed it really. And I've gone tubing and canoeing. I've gone when I was a kid. I've gone when I was a young adult. I've gone when I was a young dad. Yeah, so let's paint this place. This place I have a lot of memories of. Let's find some nice colors here. Some dark greens and grays, blues. Let's see which ones I want. We'll start with that one. I'm kind of using this as a palette, as you can tell. The back of the card, see? That back of the card is my palette. I'm going to get it darker. Alright, so what we want to do is, around the girl's hair, we especially want it to stay dark. I mean light. We want dark hovering around her hair, because that's going to be all lit from the sun. So that's the trick to this one, is keeping the white paper shining through and make this background. Let me start with that. So I'm going to use a lot of darks. I want to kind of make a little edge right there. In that woods, that area I just painted, in there are monkeys. Yes. Now, monkeys don't happen natively, naturally in Florida, but they have been there, I don't know, maybe 100 years, and they were put there by people who wanted to attract tourists, because tourism was probably one of the best ideas for this state as a way to bring in money to the state, you know, back in those days. Probably still today. It's a great idea. Over here I want some very light leaves, so I'll keep that light also. A lot of time spent here. I even applied when I was a kid. I applied for a job at Silver Springs, and I didn't get it. You know why? Because my hair was too long. And so I cut my hair, and I went back, and the guy told me, well, you didn't cut it short enough. And he showed me a picture. He said, this is what I'm looking for. And at that time, when I was a young kid, it was in the 70s, and I don't know, I was into that whole idea of having longer hair. I liked rock music, and I don't know, I just, I was a transplant from New York, and anyway, so the shorter hair that he wanted me to wear wasn't what I wanted. And like an idiot, I was resenting to do that, so I didn't do that. And I mean it, like that was a stupid thing for me, looking back on it. But in all, I don't regret it, because I ended up getting a job at another beautiful river called Rainbow River, and that was also a tourist attraction. And I did get a job there, and they didn't care how long my hair was. My hair wasn't that long. I mean, I don't know if you can remember how old you are, but if you were old enough to remember that whole thing with men's hair being long, nowadays I don't think anybody cares, it seems like. But but anyway, so that was then. That was great memory, though. But nevertheless, I always loved Silver Springs, even if they didn't hire me. I loved it. And so now we want to make this the back of the girl's vest, like her life jacket, very dark, because I want her to be in the shadow. Just kind of get it dark up to the top, and we'll let that dry. That's why I want to do it right now. There we go. And I think I can take the back of her hair and do the same thing. Just make it a little more on the brown side. But again, keep it internal. And I'll take the little brush and make it bigger later on. Alright, same thing with the other side of her paddles. Want to make them dark. I have only used a kayak once in my life, and it wasn't here in Florida, it was in Tennessee. I went kayaking with my son, and it was very fun. It's a fond memory, another fond memory. I think they say when you get older, you'll live on your memories. What do you think? I think that's true. Alright, let's get some deep, deep reds here. Deep, deep reds. I'm going to put that right here in the shadow of this boat, this kayak. Right there, let it come down. And then up on the side here. Just got to remember all these areas that are lit. That's lit right there. And up here too. Today, by the way, today is the day that we go to see where Bob Ross is buried. Robin and I have a day trip today planned. So I can hear her waking up. She's been having a rough time lately, but I think the doctor figured it out. We were worried about her because, well, I don't want to get too personal, but we were worried about her. It turns out, guess what it turns out? It turns out to be vertigo. Yeah, something, the inner ear. So, for those of you who thought I was having a different tone, I guess that's why. You're very perceptive. Some of the emails you guys, not emails, but those messages on YouTube, very perceptive. I don't know how. You could tell. That's a skill I don't really have. I don't really have that skill. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do sometimes. I don't know. But anyway, so she's good. Yeah, I'm so glad she's good. I won't lie to you, I was praying really hard. And it turns out it was vertigo, which I guess the doctors feel like is, serious enough to take care of, but something that can be taken care of. And when I told the pastor what it was, he told me that he also has that. So isn't that something? But it was new. It was new in our world. She hadn't ever experienced that kind of thing. So this has to be slightly lighter. Maybe I'll even add some blue to it, just to blue and green, maybe just a little bit, to keep it lighter. Yeah. Keep it very light over here. Just use the water to lighten it up a lot. The edge of that has light on it too. Just keep dabbing it in there, and I'll add the details later on. So I do have a poem today. It's a very short poem. It's a very new poem. It's copyrighted 2012. But it says something I like. I'll share it with you in a little bit. Let me get some of these basic shapes and colors on here. This is still wet over here. I made that very thick. I can darken some of this. Darken some of this. There we go. It's still at the ugly stage. Yeah, so today we're going to Bob Ross's grave. It's about 60-something miles from here. And Bob Ross died in 1995. He's been gone a long time, and yet he still plays a role in a lot of our lives. We still remember him fondly. That's a good testament to a man or a person, any person who has felt like a friend. You know, a lot of people who are celebrities feel like friends. And then when they pass away, it's like losing a friend. Absolutely. and get this near her hair, her arm, and everything darker, in order to create that look of light reflecting on her hair. Okay, I'm going to let this dry now. I want to read the poem to you. It's from Wendell Berry, and the poem he wrote is called The Peace of Wild Things. When despair for this world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light for a time. I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Short, but very profound. Wendell Berry, thank you for that. That's from a book called The Peace of Wild Things and Other Poems. It was published in 2018, and the publisher is Penguin. So that was very nice. And it's absolutely true. You think about the animals, they don't think about what might happen in the future. They don't worry. Right? Isn't that a lesson in the Bible, that you shouldn't be worrying about things? All right, let's shift to the smaller brush now. Let's shift to the smaller brush and start adding some things here. So I want to add some more definition to the bottom of her kayak. It comes up on the side here. And let's add some definition to her arms. She's got a lot of light coming around her arms. Keep her arms dark. And her hands. Her hands and her arms are working that oar, that paddle. Just using orange just as a starting point. And I'll use some of this darker red for the back of her kayak. Kind of a dark red. It's a red kayak. There's a lot of light reflecting on it. So when Robin and I went down the river one time, we went canoeing, And we canoed 5 miles downstream. So that tells you that it was a little bit easier simply by being downstream. There's the bottom of the handle on the paddle. Yeah, so it was a 5-mile canoe ride. And then at the bottom, at the end of the 5 miles, a truck picks you up. And you don't have to walk back or carry a canoe back with you. It was fun. It was a fun day. Very exhausting though. I was tired. Whoa. Wasn't that long ago. Would I do it again? I don't know. I might do it again. I always tell myself I'm gonna get in better shape and then I'll do stuff again. I have so many role models that my son is always in good shape. He's an exerciser. I should be an exerciser. Let's get these dark areas really dark here. Let's get her paddle really dark. Kind of really defined. Go ahead and make her hair darker. It's very much in the shadows. And some of the dark areas around her boat, around her kayak. Whoops, that's a little too dark. Whoops. Okay. Gotta pick that up now. It's okay. A little shadow under her arm. Get some of these leaves more defined over here. Okay, we're getting there. Canoeing, kayaking down the river. You know, if I went there today, in fact, if I went there right now, I bet you there'd be people out there in their canoes. It's 7:30 in the morning, but I think there's probably people out there right now. bet you. I'm sure that the rangers are out there. It's a great place to go. It's a great place to, as the poem suggests, it's a great place to just get away and let nature kind of be your therapist. It's a good idea. Let nature be your therapist. A bit of darkness here. Keep adding some more darks and lights. Well, not the lights. You don't add the lights. The lights are there already. Which is some more of the sense of a body of water. In this river, I mentioned the alligators. There are also lots of, and I mentioned the monkeys, but there are also lots of otters. Yeah, and they are fun to watch. But they look cute, but you don't want to touch them. They will bite you. No, they won't let you get near them, to be honest with you. But if you ever somehow were close enough to one and you thought you could play with it, which I doubt that ever happens, but I wouldn't try that. It's not a good idea. Just try to darken some of this water on this side of the page, on the card. Some of that yellow. See if I can get some of that yellow cream there. I can hear the animals outside. It's almost like they're giving me a soundtrack. Let's try and make this a little bit darker. All right, I think I'm done. Let me spread this water out here. This paint. Smear it like cream cheese on a bagel. The back of the card is going to be rather dark. It's okay. It's okay. The person who gets the card, the people who get the cards always seem to comment on the back. And so there's an abstract picture on the back. An abstract. So just smudge it around. Let it have a personality of its own. And if you decide that that's the front of the card, then the kayaker will be the back of the card. Alright, only one thing I see that I want to change. I feel like her hair could be a little bit less defined. I just want it to be, maybe move some of that paint around. Get that nice bright light coming through her hair and across her kayak. Her hands are on the paddle there. I think we have our greeting card done. Alright, let me let it dry and I'll be right back. Alright, it's dry now. Let me fold it and we will have our greeting card for somebody who enjoys kayaking, and maybe specifically who enjoys kayaking on the Silver River. And I know there's a lot of people that applies to. All right, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later.